Meteorologist Chris Holcomb and Chezzy McNeil in the house with us this morning, kind of tracking this shift that we have. Chris, I see the road temperatures behind you. That is so important as we talk about this mixture that we're seeing hitting the roadways.
And, we've been talking about that this morning. Chesley and I were kind of giving you a summary earlier about, we talk about our surface temperatures of the actual air temperature. We're also looking at temperatures aloft, and we have the ability to see the actual temperatures of the roadways. And Chesley, come on in here, because these road sensors are really a result of what you and the team did with the task force. When we had the snow jams and snowmageddons in the past, Governor Deal put a task force together of some meteorologists in the Atlanta area. You were representing us at 11 Alive. And from that task force, we saw these road sensors be installed, and this technology is just so important to us right now that we can actually see, because sometimes the surface temperature might be 32, but the road might be 37.
Right.
And it's going to be okay.
Right.
And so, and I didn't warn you I was going to ask you this, but
sorry.
How, in all of your meetings that y'all had, how did that kind of come about, and even know that that technology is something that we could even utilize?
It was the first time really, or it seemed like the first time that all of us were brought to the table. So you're talking about GDOT, you're talking about the meteorologists, you're talking about emergency management, everybody coming to the table. And so you heard what their shortfalls were, shortcomings, heard what ours were. And so it was like, well, why can't we do this? Or why can't we do that? Can we have this? Can we have that? And so the temperatures began to be something that they had access to. They had monitors out there. And so it was like, well, if we could show that, right? And so all that kind of came together. National Weather Service got involved in that as well. And so now we have these road monitors, which again is very key because it shows you at least where the roads could be the worst, if you will, where snow could pile up or not freeze. Like you said, a lot of times, especially here in the South, the roads temperatures are way higher than what the actual air temperature is. So we would know that if the snow comes down, it's going to melt right away, or it's going to stick around like what we're seeing today.
And what is different about this situation with this rain, this snow mix coming in, is that we have had a lot of days with really cold air. So that ground temperature has had, a lot of times we see snow come in, 3 days ahead of the time, it might have been 70 degrees.
Right.
And then we get a cold front and we see snow. And those ground temperatures are still warm.
Right.
But with this situation, we have had numerous days of lows in the 20s, highs only in the 40s, and highs in the 30s. So that allowed that ground temperature to come down, and that's why we're seeing some of these. Another cool thing is that when these sensors were installed, it was only a few. Now we're able to see this expanding, and that's just more and more information that we're able to get. And the Department of Transportation, this is so valuable to the Department of Transportation, and they can see these temperatures and target areas and say, whoa, look up in North Georgia now, road temperatures are 29 degrees. Right. And they can send crews up into that area.
Very important.
So we're thanking you. This is because of Chesley McNeil that we have these road temperatures available to us right now. So let's look at those. Now, Chesley and I worked together to compile these temperatures here. We were looking at every one of the sensors around North Georgia and here in the metro Atlanta area. And again, as we were saying, a lot of times the roads will be warmer than the actual surface temperature, but in this situation, we are seeing a lot of these temperatures of the actual road surface that are below freezing. Let's go up to North Georgia first. This is up in Rabun County, US 76 at US 23. Road temperature there 31. So that means, when people are slipping and sliding around right now, it's been from that snow and the slush that's out there just getting thick, and that's making it thick out there. But now, if we're seeing any of that snow become water and slush become water, with the road being at 31, that then becomes a glaze of ice there too. Look up in Blue Ridge, SR 15 at Blue Ridge Drive, 29, I-75 at SR 2, that's up in Northwest Georgia near the Tennessee line. Road temperature there is 28. 31, again below freezing, up near Adairsville. Georgia 400 north up toward the Buford area, 30 degrees right now. 85 north and east of the city. So here's 85 through Gwinnett County. There's the Mall of Georgia right here. As you go up into Jackson County, the road temperature there is 29 degrees. So all of these temperatures, most of these showing at or below freezing, would indicate that yes, those roads are not improving at all. They may only be getting more of a glaze on them right now too. 31 even inside the perimeter. That's at 75 and 10th Street. So that's right there at the downtown connector. The road temperature is 31 degrees. Now down to the south, we're seeing a few more road temperatures that are a little bit higher. 33, that's 85 south in Henry County at Hudson Bridge Road. And then down to the south, as you get closer to the LaGrange, or actually Troup County, we have a road temperature of 33 degrees. That's there at the way station. And then in Noonan, road temperatures are at 32 degrees. So we have been watching the snow come in. We already have some travel issues now from the snow, and as Chesley and I have been watching, we're seeing the radar showing more of that transition now, and we are getting confirmation of this from our reporters out and about, and even from Nicole outside of our studio. We're going to get a live report from her in just a second, but that transition taking place from the snow to a winter mix. And when we say winter mix, that is anything from snow mixing in with rain, snow mixing in with sleet, or at times that rain is also freezing rain. And as we just went over those road conditions and road temperatures for you, when you have rain coming down through the sky in the form of water or a raindrop, it might be liquid in the sky as we're making that transition, but the problem is when it hits the ground and it hits those roads or surfaces that are at or below freezing, that then becomes a glaze. And as I zoom out a little bit, you see that there's more moisture that's going to be feeding into our area too, and we'll be watching that mix for much of the afternoon, Chesley.
Oh, I hate to see that. Hate to see it, because all that moisture, we still got a ways to go, folks, and with that warming taking place, that means significant icing could be the case. We are under a winter storm warning, remains in effect through tomorrow morning. In fact, may even be extended, especially if we have significant precipitation still on the roads out there and it refreezes. We're expecting those temperatures to get down into the 20s again tonight, so, or at least closer to the 30-degree mark or below freezing. Down to the south where we have the purple in there, that is a winter weather advisory. That's down toward the Macon area, but be on the lookout. If you live in these areas, hopefully, again, you're at home nice and warm, things are fine. The problem with icing, especially when we talk about freezing rain, it could lead to power outages, something we really don't want, especially on cold days like this. As Chris mentioned earlier, we've been cold for the last couple of days, and so now that the precipitation is coming down in the form of the frozen type, and we got all types all over the area. There are types where we have mostly snow, especially up to our far north. You got the sleet mixing with the freezing rain from Atlanta southward so far, and coming in early. So with that moisture feed that's still out there, we're going to be in this for a little while. This is showing some mixing taking place from Atlanta down toward McDonough, Peachtree City, down toward Luthersville, into the south. More like snow, maybe some sleet mixing in up here to the north. I was looking at a camera, and Chris, you may want to look at this, the Dahlonega camera. It was fixed on the campus of North Georgia, and the grass was green. Grass was still showing. Now it may be covered. Maybe. We'll get a check on that. You're looking at Calhoun, where we've had that snow right along I-75 rather, heading down into the city, still dealing with that as well. Chris just showed you that moisture feed continuing to come in. If you look at Alabama, for example, he had that snow all the way down here, almost into Montgomery, and now you see the warm air is lifting further off to the north, so now it's up to I-20 and continuing to lift northward. That's going to be our trend as we head through the rest of the afternoon as well, and so we're expecting that mix to take place. If you were thinking, man, if I had to go out, I need to go out, but I don't know which time. Should I wait later? I would say you go out now. Now, if you don't have to go out at all, you don't have to go out at all. But if you have to go out, you go out now, because we haven't seen that significant icing taking place. But if that's the case for this afternoon, conditions will get worse. Let's find out what's going on outside our back doorstep right now. Let's go over to Nicole Hartford, who's standing by.
Hi, Chesley. Yes, so you were talking about the transition that we've had from the snow to the sleet to the rain. And right now outside of our studio in Midtown, it's been a pretty consistent, just very light rainfall. We'll get a couple sleet pellets mixed in every so often, but for the most part, it's been rain. And what that's doing right now is it's creating a lot of slush. So it's taking the accumulating snowfall that we've already seen. It's making it slushier. And as Chesley was saying, this may at least temporarily improve some road conditions across the metro metro Atlanta area as we introduce more slush. That said, temperatures are hovering right around the freezing point. So we are seeing a little development of perhaps a light glaze of ice on some windshields, as well as some of those railings that we see, on patios across the Atlanta metro area. That light glaze of ice right now, not too much of a problem, but temperatures will continue to fluctuate throughout the day today, and especially this evening and into the overnight as temperatures drop. We'll still have a lot of this water and even accumulating snowfall on the ground, and ice will become more and more of an issue as we go into the later hours today, as well as into the overnight tonight. So at least for us across metro Atlanta, likely a lot of that accumulating snowfall, the kind of winter wonderland look that we had, will start to fade as more of this snowfall just turns to a little bit of slush. Now, here outside our studio in Midtown, we have that consistent rainfall, but I've noticed it's not quite as heavy as what it was perhaps even just 30 minutes to an hour ago. That said, it's still making things just overall wet across the area. And as we continue to watch those temperatures just kind of fluctuate throughout the day today, that's when our possibility of more ice accumulation really enters the picture. And when it comes to ice accumulation, a little bit can go a long way. When you have up to about 1/10 of an inch of ice, it's when you start to have slick areas, especially on bridges and overpasses. For anyone who does absolutely have to drive today, I would advise, if you don't have to drive, don't get out on the roads. But remember, especially right now, while things are kind of slushy, that those bridges and overpasses are always the first to freeze, and they will likely be the slickest. And that'll ring true through this evening and overnight tonight as well. We'll be monitoring this very closely as this winter system unfolds throughout the day.